Disclaimer: please do not harass or witch hunt anyone mentioned in this video. I made this for sake of entertainment purposes only. I mostly joke around in this video while expressing my opinion. However, I do not encourage any form of harassment at all. As always, enjoy the video. Welcome to the Snyderverse, a trilogy of DC films directed by Zack Snyder, which has built a very interesting fan base, but for all the wrong reasons. And despite the fact that their version of Superman is dark and gritty and Batman is a killer, these Snyder fans still try and claim that these characters are so comic accurate and godlike, which as we all know is not the case. Superman is supposed to be a symbol of hope and humanity, and Batman has his famous no-kill rule. So how is that accurate? Now, while I did like the Snyder Cut better than whatever we got in theaters, I humbly accepted the fact that there was not going to be a Justice League Part 2 and 3. And yeah, I do understand. A director's version is important. I mean, everyone deserves to share their story the way how they want to do it. However, my main problem comes in when the freaking Snyderverse fans, or should I say Snyder cult to be more accurate, still don't want to move on years later and will continue to spam hashtag restore the Snyderverse everywhere they go. Even though the new Superman movie was successful, it was a much-needed comic-accurate version of Superman, these guys still want to dunk on David Cornsweet and claim Henry Cavill is a superior Superman, even though Cavill himself said he did not like this dark take on Superman. He wanted to play a more hopeful version, and he has clearly moved on to other things. I do believe he's producing a Warhammer 40k series right now. Don't believe me? Let's take a trip into this sub right here. This is honestly one of the most saddest subreddits I've ever seen on the internet. It consists of the Snyder fans who clearly have not moved on and are still trying to push this absolutely dead agenda. Warner Bros. Giving up, James Gunn's fired, Superman is a flop, Snyderverse coming back, blah blah blah. They're basically stuck in the past. And the worst part is that they ban anyone who speaks out against Snyder's vision. Almost every comment you see has been removed by subreddit's mod team, because they are clearly that desperate to not accept any form of criticism. They need this echo chamber where they praise and blindly defend any creative choice Zack Snyder makes, no matter how inaccurate or bad it is. Today, we are going to take a dive into this beautiful subreddit and laugh at how delusional they are, because it's fun. So the first thing I want to talk about is Zack Snyder's recent Instagram post, where he said, Henry Cavill is Superman. I remember sighing so loudly when I saw this, because I knew right away he was going to be adding fuel to the fire. He's always interacting with his fans, and well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. He knew exactly what he was doing right here, no doubt. So a quick note while I'm editing and finishing off this video. If he wants to post BTS photos from his movies, then that's completely fine. I have nothing against that. I'm not saying he shouldn't. However, he needs to hold his fans accountable, because they do some of the most toxic things on the internet, and he never calls them out or tells them to stop. That's my issue. If he tells them to stop, then I'll be completely fine with him posting BTS shots. But if you make a post captioned Henry Cavill is Superman, then it's going to stir up the wrong crowd. I'm just saying. I have nothing against him personally, but he really needs to hold his fans accountable instead of encouraging them with BTS photos from a movie from nearly a decade ago that flopped horribly. Wanna know why? Because this made fans believe for the balance of time that the Snyderverse was coming back. Keep them coming. You will come back and restore the Snyderverse. I got full faith in this. The Snyder Cut was a pipe dream too, they said. And then it happened, making it the largest fan base in the world. Please come back. DC needs you. Even though the DCEU basically flopped horribly, and the new DCU is successful thanks to James Gunn and Superman. How strange. We need Zack Snyder Justice League 2 and 3. We also need a Man of Steel sequel and Batfleck solo movie. We want this universe to be restored. We still need to see Batfleck solo movie with Deathstroke. Hashtag make the Batfleck movie. We were robbed. I don't think we were. Hashtag restore Snyderverse. And of course they want Ben Affleck to come back as Batman for the Batman vs. Deathstroke movie. Not gonna lie, it does sound like a cool idea. But many people forget the one important thing. Ben Affleck was going through a horrible time when he played Batman. He struggled with alcohol addiction. It could have killed him. Mental health isn't something you should ignore for a basement dweller's edgy entertainment and their idea of cinema. Oh, and the Henry Cavill Superman post wasn't a one-time thing. Just recently, Snyder also posted this photo of Deathstroke as well. I'm sure I don't know how to say his name, is a great actor, and I've only seen him as Flash Thompson, but we didn't get to see much of his version of Deathstroke. He just appeared in a small cameo and that's it. I'm sure Joe is probably excited to play Deathstroke, but, well, things happen. Oh, and like right after I was done editing this video, another picture was posted. This one was of Ben Affleck as Batman, so another behind-the-scenes photo from one of the Snyderverse trilogy movies. And like I said, I'm not saying Snyder shouldn't post these behind-the-scenes photos. If he wants to, that's fine. But like I said, it was not a great experience for Ben Affleck. I mean, he probably would have killed it as Batman, and his suit looks really cool and his voice sounds cool. However, since he was going through mental health struggles at the time, I don't think it's appropriate. You know? I mean, it's a cool picture, but you know what I mean. Ooh, here's a good one. This just hit 300k. Yeah, sure. 100,000 likes is definitely going to break the internet and convince Warner Brothers to bring back a dead universe. I love that. The successful movie gets a fun sequel, and it got more likes. And this person got banned from the subreddit, of course. See, I told you they banned anything and anyone that went against Zack Snyder's films. It's literally in their rules. Don't believe me? I'll read them out to you. Rule 2. No disrespect towards Zack Snyder or his work. Insulting Zack Snyder or trashing his body of work is not allowed. Arguing against the restoration of the Snyderverse or against Snyder returning to DC films is not allowed. While balanced criticism can be made of Snyder's works in the context of a larger discussion, it must be substantive and respectful. Simply attacking or bashing his work without a reasonable explanation is not allowed. People who spend most of their time on the sub criticizing Snyder's work will be banned. Okay, I see what they're trying to say. However, I have seen people get banned just for even the smallest amount of criticism. Like, hey, this version of the character isn't accurate, so this rule kind of falls flat because how extreme they are. Rule 3. No disrespect towards Zack Snyder fans. Criticizing people for being Zack Snyder fans is not allowed. Making negative generalizations about Snyder fans is not allowed. Okay, now I get that not all Zack Snyder fans are like this, and I know there are toxic ones out there, but y'all need to actually hold the toxic ones accountable because a lot of them like to trash any other version. So, what? Referring to one or more of Zack Snyder fans with a disparaging terms such as bot, cult, crazy, etc. is not allowed. Concerned trolling, lecturing Snyder fans, or telling Snyders to move on is not allowed. Telling Snyder fans to move on is not allowed. Okay, yeah, see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? It is healthy to move on, it's okay to move on. Claiming that Zack Snyder fans are disliked or have a bad reputation is not allowed. Complaining about the sub existing or about Reddit recommending it to you is not allowed. And the craziest part is that most of the people who get banned, like I said, aren't harassing or trolling anyone. They at least accepted the reality and moved on with their life because quite frankly, there are better things in life to worry about. However, I will say to this, you're allowed to criticize those movies. I mean, no one's forbidding you to. However, the one thing that crosses the line is if you make fun of his daughter's suicide. That is absolutely disgusting, and if you do that, then I do not want to be affiliated with you. If you simply criticize his work, that is fine, but do not bring his personal tragedy into this. Absolutely not. Crazy how one black and white picture of the Man of Steel has more discussion and hype than Superman. Hashtag Snyderverse restored. Rent free. How'd you come to this conclusion, friend? Comment removed by moderator. Removed for being poorly written, confusing, or uninteresting. What tells you that? Are you sure this post got people to talk? You know, personally, I saw more hype and excitement for a new Superman movie because his hope and symbolism made people believe in him again, especially in depressing times like this. Oh wait, do you mean this got people to criticize Snyder and the fanbase for not moving on? Are you also talking about the block likes and comments controlled by Lex Luthor's troll monkeys in the Pocket universe? Not gonna lie, that is more accurate, especially considering the Oscar fan vote was clearly rigged by bots so Snyder's movies could win. Holy shit, I found a good one. The end is near. Sources close to Warner confirmed that David Zaslav is already planning the immediate dismissal of James Gunn to bring back Zack Snyder after the impact he has generated on social media. 30,000 likes and negative $40 million? What? What the fuck is this? You're seriously telling me 300k likes is more impactful than a new movie getting a new sequel because of how successful it was? Honestly, I really wish it was rage bait. Unfortunately, these people are dead serious. This next example is yet another case of petty banning, but I'll show it anyway. I don't know, he literally isn't Superman anymore. Why even post that in 2025 when we officially have a new Superman? He will always be Superman. Yeah, but not on the big screen anymore. And of course, this person got banned. Who would have thought? See, this stuff is getting people banned. Even the smallest bits. They weren't even saying anything mean or anything. They're like control freaks over there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm glad someone has common sense. The entire DC multiverse is not going to revolve around Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck as soups and bats. And this person's right. We have a new Superman now. Plus, no offense, but Henry Cavill's soups isn't as iconic as Christopher Reeves, who is also as comic accurate as David Cornswit. Like I said, not every Snyderverse fans like this. Back in 2021, when it was announced that the Snyderverse wouldn't be coming back, many Snyder fans went on a harassment campaign just to flaunt the Snyderverse hashtag. I remember I saw one like a Stop Asian Hate post one time. Like a ton of them spammed the comments, which was absolutely tone deaf and inappropriate. However, in the midst of all this, there were many sane Snyder fans, with me being one of them, who didn't like how toxic the fanbase was and started to distance themselves from the mess. They didn't want to be associated with this sort of behavior, and they actually moved on and accepted the truth. That right there is true growth, something that I respect. And I say this because I want to show y'all this. I like the Snyder Cut. I was in denial when it didn't lead up to anything, but I've learned to move on. And I suggest you do as well. See? Boom. Thank you. Someone has common sense. Oh, and before I move on, I want to point out, I know some of you in the comments are going to tell me, why is shitting on other people's enjoyment? Or hang on others is a waste of time. Or let people enjoy their vision. Okay, look, I'm not forbidding anyone from enjoying Snyder's movies. If you like that interpretation, that is fine. Go watch what you enjoy. What I do have a problem with is Snyder fans disliking others for enjoying other versions of Superman. So they're the ones hanging on other people's opinions, not me. And yes, it may be a waste of time to others, including you, but it's not a waste of my time because it's just funny to laugh at. But don't worry, I have my own life and career. This is just something I do on the side. It's not like I'm putting my life on hold just to trash them delusional shits. So they can keep making themselves look stupid so I can laugh at them. I got time and day to be petty. However, I will have to remind everyone that I do not condone any sort of harassment towards these people. Yes, I know they're laughable, but do not hate on them. It does not make you any better than them. It's my job, and that's why I censored the names in this video. So, like I said, don't harass them. That's all. Okay, so his next post is from Twitter, not Reddit, but the delusion still lingers over there. Zack hasn't moved on, so why should we? Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Yeah, you're so right. The almighty Snyder hasn't moved on, and you haven't either, which is a better reason to move on. Like seriously, do you have anything better to do? Get out of your mom's basement and touch some grass. And if you're in the CBN fandom, you might recognize this dude from a tweet where he bragged about breaking a toy in front of a kid. Yes, he actually said that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Went to my local Walmart and bought the very last Superman toy. Saw a kid crying because he was hoping to buy it. I felt bad for a second, but then I realized he's a gun fan, so I laughed at him and broke the toy in front of him. Yes, that's right. This Snyder bro thought it was appropriate to brag to thousands of users that he made an innocent kid cry at the store. All because he didn't like the new Superman. Now, I highly doubt the story is real because literally anyone could create some exaggerated story on the internet and people will believe it with no proof. But real or not, it's still an odd thing to brag about. Oh, I see. Here's a good one. Y'all need to see this. Superman should always look strong. That's why he's called Superman. No one wants to see a Superman that's getting to ground every now and then. Oh really? Can you explain why Superman died in the second movie then? I think this is one of the many good examples that shows how these fans don't understand Superman. Yes, he's an alien with powers, but the point of him is his humanity. He uses powers to save people, but at the end of the day, he's human like any of us. And the recent Superman movie was a very good example of that. That is the heart of who Superman is, and James Gunn understood it well. Looking back on it, it is very odd how Superman was portrayed as some untouchable, Jesus-like figure, which probably explains why he died and came back to life, to parallel the death and resurrection of Jesus. But the reason why it falls flat is because Superman was created by Jewish people during the height of Nazi Germany, and when many Jewish people fled to America to escape this fascism. His character is an immigrant from Krypton who came to America to give people hope and optimism that he learned while growing up on Earth and not Krypton. Zack just shared a symbol of hope. Restore the Snyderverse. No one has moved on. Not the fans, not the haters, not the media, especially not Warner Bros. / DC. Restore the Snyderverse. Well, this person isn't wrong. No one in the sad summer has moved on. They're stuck in their own echo chamber of delusion. They've been like that for like almost a decade or so. No, I find it very funny how I was probably like 19 or 20 when I moved on from the Snyder Cut's hopes of returning. Meanwhile, these people are probably in their 30s or 40s and are acting a whole lot more immature than I am. Oh no, oh god no, this gets a whole lot better. Never faced us, not us united. Yeah, of course, because they always have to, quote this sort of stuff from the movie. And there's a picture of Snyder as a god. Hell yeah. This is uncomfortable. I agree, dude. I agree. Yes, that's exactly what you think it is. They really are a cult. Oh my god. I hate this extreme parasocial relationship they have with a freaking film director. You don't see this stuff with like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy or the Russo brothers Marvel movies. Like, dude, he's just a guy who makes movies. It really isn't that deep. And I want to share one last post. Gunn's contract has been renewed and DC is being sold to Paramount. That is a complete lie. All the Snyder fans just use this headline because they're grasping at straws at this point to cling on to that hope. Superman flopped and it's the flagship, so a drunk Supergirl will do 30 million at best, and Clayface all will flopped. Nobody watched Peacemaker, which had 500k views per episode, while the Penguin had 5 million views per episode. Numbers don't lie. So his sequel will flop just like his first one with Superman getting kicked in the nuts. I have no idea what the fuck this person is going on about. It felt like word salad while I was reading this. But Superman was by no means a flop. It was actually very successful. While some might claim that Man of Steel made slightly more than that, that's different. Not only was Man of Steel released 12 years ago in a much different time period, but we're in the post-COVID era where movie demands have changed. And let's not forget Trump's bullshit tariffs, which is affecting how we spend things. It's the equivalent of comparing the original Star Wars box office success back in '77 to Avengers Endgame. It's incomparable. So yeah, that was fun. This video was more like a tip of the iceberg of the crazy shit that goes on in that delusional subreddit. While they are stuck in the past, the real ones have moved on to better things in life, and that is how I like it. The new DCU not only has a far better and structured plan, but it looks a whole lot more exciting and fun. And it actually made me a whole lot more hopeful than I had for DC in many years. I mean, I'm not really a part of that fandom anymore, but don't fret because I will still watch more content as they continue to release. And that is all I have for the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want me to keep shitting on these people or to shit on other people on the internet, I am totally down because it's fun. But until next time, I will see you all later. Bye.